Hi my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it. I woke up to silence. No footsteps on the stairs. No scent of coffee or breakfast wafting from the kitchen. Just an eerie stillness that felt strangely cold for a birthday morning. My 25th. A quarter of a century in our family is so happened since I was 17. I've called my parents by their first names Hudson and Claire. I sat up slowly, half expecting to hear Claire call out from downstairs. "Angel, come here, sweetie." Like she used to when she wanted help moving the furniture or adjusting the thermostat. But nothing. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls, not even a generic happy birthday from Hudson or Claire. I dressed quietly and descended the stairs, holding on to a flicker of childish hope. Maybe they were planning a surprise. Maybe I was just being cynical. But the moment I turned the corner into the living room, that flicker died. They were both standing there, Hudson in his golf polo, arms crossed. Claire in her branded fitness gear, perfectly made up at 8 a.m., her jaw tight like she'd already rehearsed her lines in the mirror. Angel, Hudson began with a deep performative sigh. "We've been talking." Claire nodded once, folding her arms. "This can't go on anymore." I paused, confused. "What, can't you miss the gym club payment again?" Claire snapped. "I was turned away from my own class and my golf dues bounced," Hudson added as though I crashed the stock market. I blinked. "Wait, is that what this is about? I told you I was getting paid this week. I was going to transfer the money tomorrow." Claire cut me off. "Tomorrow isn't good enough anymore. We can't keep living like this." Living like what? Like they were royalty and I was the invisible hand funding the kingdom. Hudson's tone hardened. "You're an adult, Angel. You should be on your own by now. We're doing you a favor." The way he said favor, like evicting me on my birthday, was a gift wrapped in moral high ground. Made something crack inside me. I swallowed. "You're kicking me out." "It's time," Player said flatly. "We can't keep walking on eggshells around your finances." "My finances?" The irony was so sharp, I nearly laughed. For years, I covered their bills, their luxuries, their late fees, and petty indulgences. I pay for Claire's rebranding campaign when her studio nearly went under. I picked up Hudson's loan payments when his consulting side hustle failed. They lived in comfort because of me. And now, the moment I stumbled, they discarded me like an expired coupon. I didn't cry. I looked around the house I'd once called home, then nodded. "Okay," I said, voice calm. "I'll pack." Claire blinked. "Just like that? You wanted me gone." "I hear you loud and clear." Hudson muttered something about being glad I was mature enough to take it well, but I had already turned and walked away. Their words faded behind me, muffled by the roar of realization in my ears. This wasn't sudden. This had been coming for a long time. The difference now was, I was ready. My childhood photos lined the dresser like mocking portraits of a girl who once believed this house was hers. But I was no longer her. Not after this morning. I opened the closet and pulled out my suitcase. The cheap red one with a frayed handle I bought during my first year of work. It had traveled more miles than my parents ever knew, mostly between client sites and hotels where I curled up alone. Calculating how much of my salary I could stretch to cover their needs and still have enough to eat. As I packed, I heard their voices drifting up the stairs. "I think she took that better than expected," Hudson said. "She's 25, Hudson." Claire replied flatly. "It's about time she learned what independence means." Independence. I zipped the suitcase slowly, trying to keep my hands from shaking. I wasn't leaving because I couldn't handle responsibility. I was leaving because I had carried too much of theirs for too long. I took only essentials. My laptop, 3 changes of clothes, some toiletries, and the box of important documents I'd hidden behind old textbooks. I left behind the sweaters Claire had bought me to look more professional. The gold necklace Hudson gave me after borrowing $1,000 he never paid back. The framed quote above my desk that read, "Family is forever." Not mine. Not anymore. Downstairs, they were seated at the kitchen table eating toast like it was any other day. Claire looked up surprised. "You're leaving now?" "I don't see the point in waiting," I replied, hauling the suitcase upright. Hudson cleared his throat. "You'll be okay. I mean, you've got a place to go, right?" Of course I lied. "I'm not your problem anymore." "Isn't that what you wanted?" I reached the door. My hand hesitated on the knob. "I paid your phone bill yesterday," I said without turning around. "It's the last one." Then I opened the door and stepped outside. The air hit my face like a slap. Sharp, cold, honest. I walked to the car, heart pounding, eyes dry. No one followed. No one called after me. The door stayed shut, and that silence was my answer. I drove aimlessly for an hour before pulling into the parking lot of a grocery store I'd never been to. I sat in the car with the engine off, my fingers frozen on the steering wheel. That was when it hit me. Not the pain, not yet. Just the hollow. I pulled out my phone and opened the banking app. Claire's fitness club autopay disabled. Hudson's monthly golf club transfer cancelled. The car insurance under my name gone. With each tap, my pulse steadied. One by one, I began shutting down every financial tie that bound me to them. I wasn't trying to punish them. No, this was survival. This was the reset button they thought they pressed on me. I found a cheap motel on the edge of town and paid cash. Inside the room, under dim yellow lighting, I opened my laptop and began listing everything still connected to my accounts. A call came in. Mom, then Dad. I watched the screen light up with a fury of incoming messages. Claire text. "What do you think you're doing? The power's out." He is on voicemail. "Angel, this is immature. You don't punish your parents." I stared at the phone and whispered, "You were never parents. You were users in disguise, and I was done being used." I silenced the phone and opened a fresh spreadsheet. They raised me to think they were the ones holding me up. But tonight, I realized something life-shifting. They weren't my safety net. I was theirs, and I just cut the cords. By morning, the motel coffee tasted like burnt dust, but it was the kind of bitterness I needed. I cracked my knuckles and opened my laptop again. Today wasn't about emotion. It was about facts, numbers, and the quiet power of documentation. I pulled up my bank records and traced every automatic payment I'd been making for years. The water bill, their internet, Netflix, Spotify, even Claire's yoga app. I listed it all in a spreadsheet I titled The Last Straw Ledger. I'd supported them since I was 20. Every late fee I paid, every emergency I covered, every time they forgot their PIN at the grocery store. Line by line, I highlighted it. Proof of what they took without shame. A notification flashed. Low balance alert. Claire's Fitness Club. I almost laughed. Another call buzzed in. Hudson. I picked up this time just once. "What the hell, Angel?" He barked. "Your mom's stranded at the gym. The car insurance isn't working." "It's not my car," I said evenly. "Or my gym. Not anymore." "You're being cruel." "No, I'm being free." I hung up and froze the shared credit card. Next, the spreadsheet was almost complete. At the bottom, I added a final line. Emotional labor, loyalty, peace of mind, not refundable. Then I closed the laptop, exhaled, and felt lighter. I hadn't burned a bridge. I'd simply stepped off the one they kept collapsing under me. The apartment was smaller than my childhood bedroom, but it smelled like possibility, like chipped paint and clean beginnings. I dropped my duffel bag on the floor and stood there absorbing the silence. No Claire's shouting from the kitchen. No Hudson's TV blaring golf tournaments I paid for but never watched. Just me. My name was finally on a lease. My utilities, my lock, my rules. I unpacked the essentials. My laptop, 3 outfits, the framed photo of me as a little girl before I learned to feel guilty for existing. Then I opened my email. One from the bank, shared credit card fully deactivated. Another from Claire. You ungrateful parasite, after all we did for you. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to a new folder. Evidence, emotional debt. I stood by the window sipping instant coffee when the doorbell rang. It was Ms. Rivera, the landlady. Warm eyes, wiry grey bun. I hope you settle in. Okay, she said. This place, it's got good bones. I nodded. So do I. I just forgot for a while. That night, I signed up for an online course in digital marketing. I'd always dreamed of starting my own business, but dreams were luxuries in my parents' house. Now they were currency. As I powered down my laptop, I whispered aloud, "This is the life I built with no borrowed bricks." A final text lit my screen from Hudson. "If you think you've won, you're wrong. Families forever." I stared at it for a moment, then deleted it. "No," I said softly. "Freedom is better than such a toxic family. I'm not your ATM anymore." And for the first time in years, I fell asleep smiling. Sometimes becoming who you're truly meant to be means turning your back on those who brought you into this world. Shared blood creates relatives, but it's mutual respect, trust, and compassion that form a real family. Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.